I can't go and work at a desk looking at a screen like some people can. But I've had a taste of this freedom, and the thought of going back and tying myself to a desk 9 to 5 and giving up that time, the time is the critical piece. I just feel like I'm wasting my life. It's like a wasted potential. I'm doing a job that I hate, and people put a number on it. I just can't do it.
And on Julian Assange.
How did I decide on?
How did you decide on? Yeah.
When he arrived back in Australia in 2024, like it was all over the front page of the newspapers, and I thought, that is a guy that I want to paint. He has been like probably one of the most famous Australian people in the last 20, 25 years, and not documented in Australian art history. And that to me was a very special opportunity. Absolute moonshot. Like, how do you get in touch with the guy? And I pursued it, and somehow I managed to pull it off.
Over years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it took 18 months to get approval to meet and paint him.
So wanting to narrow in on Julian Assange seems, I guess, like I wouldn't say obvious choice, but definitely one that warrants some, I guess, some record keeping, right? Like there needs to be something that captures from a different angle of his contribution to, I guess, the political landscape, or even just the cultural landscape in many ways. Like how we live day to day has been largely influenced by stuff that he has uncovered. What was it about your work, though, on the reverse side? What is it about your work that made him say, this is the guy, this is the time, and this is the guy?
For me, or for him looking at me?
Yeah.
It's hard to say, because I'm not him. When I met him, I did ask him, like, why have I had this opportunity to paint you? And he said, because I like your work. And that meant a lot at the time, when it still meant a lot, that I just can't believe it, honestly. It's a bit of a pinch me moment that he's seen my work and he's thought it good enough to be able to represent him in a way that he would be happy to be shown and represented in a gallery or a museum.
Yeah, and just to have that spotlight, because he's been actively trying to avoid it. After so many years of being in it, I'm sure that all he wants now is to be out of it. So to actively decide that, no, I'm going to step back into it and be memorialised in this painting in the biggest art prize in Australia.
It's a huge honour. And I think the trust that he's shown in me to paint him, it's like, I honestly can't believe that I was given that opportunity.
Which came first? Was it deciding that you wanted to enter, or that you wanted him specifically?
No, him specifically. I've entered the Archibald maybe 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Well, this will be my 6th or 7th entry. It's always a kick in the guts. You always think you've got the winner. Well, not the winner, but like something that's going to final at least. And you send it off, high hopes. It's very expensive as well, the process, especially as a Melbourne artist. Because you've got to get the boards made up, you've got to get it framed, you've got to ship it with art couriers, which is notoriously expensive. And then it has to come back if you're not successful. So it can be like a $1,500 to $2,000 exercise to sort of enter into the prize if you're doing a substantial piece. And I guess after the number of unsuccessful entries I've had, I've sort of tempered my ambition to get in there. And I thought, look, I'll definitely have a crack at trying to get hold of Julian and seeing if I can paint him, because I feel like that would be something, firstly, I'd love to do. I'd love that opportunity to be able to try and represent him in art history in Australia as an influential person in Australian history, not even Australian history, but global history.
Global.
And I had no backup. There was no other person that I was going to paint. So if I didn't get hold of him, then I wasn't going to enter. Having
the opportunities to sit down and speak with him, there's going to be a lot of, I guess, like just trying to understand his position in life and on I guess, just where he stands with things that are going on right now. What was it that you got from that conversation that you thought was pertinent, that you needed to put into the painting?
We spoke about a lot. And I thought about what I was going to ask him on the drive to go and see him. And I think for me, my approach was, Julian's been through a lot, and he probably doesn't want to feel like he's in another press release. And it's not, I mean, that's not who I am. I'm not there to interrogate him. As an artist, I'm there to capture who he is and represent that. So I wanted to approach it more from a human point of view and talk to him like a normal person, like we are. And that's pretty much what happened. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we were just equals in a room, just having a chat. And I was so nervous when I met him. Like, I think it was probably 15 minutes before he arrived at a little Airbnb, and I just figured I was going to get a text saying, "Oh, sorry, Julian's not going to make it." And it wasn't until I didn't get that text 15 minutes before meeting him, I was like, "Shit, this is happening. He's coming." And like, I've had full body sweats. Like, I was super nervous. But yeah, I mean, his demeanor was calm and normal, and we got on really well. He opened up. We just spoke about normal things.
I think it's pretty brave of him to wanting to put himself out there once again.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I feel so honoured to be able to be the artist that was, like, I'm sure there was other artists that have been chasing him. I know of a handful of people that have wanted to paint him for many years. So to be chosen as the one,
as the guy,
and have that trust given to me, feels like a real honour.
That process goes over years, I suppose, right? Like, if it took you 18 months to even just to get him, would this be pretty standard kind of process for the Archibald? Because it is a yearly competition, a yearly prize. So the window that you will have, is it something that you will target a specific year and say that I need this runway to get to this point, or is it just like, I've got a year, or I'm going to target for 2 years?
Yeah, so there's a few rules around entering Archibald. You've got to be an Australian citizen. The person you're painting has to be an Australian citizen. They have to be notable in art, politics, sports, science, like a notable person. You have to spend at minimum 1 hour with that person doing a live sitting, which is generally the tricky part. And then you have to paint the portrait within the year prior to entry, or prior to judging, maybe.
How would they police that?
Oh, look, I'm sure if you wrote the wrong date, then you'd get through, but, you know, it has to be pretty recent. So, yeah, I think you need to kind of pick and choose who you want to paint, or who you think is going to be, I guess, popular, or a person that's going to stand out amongst a crowd over the next 12 months. It's hard to predict, really.
Yeah, and maybe it's not so much a matter of predicting, but it's also just that being the catalyst of their popularity or their notoriety, however you want to frame it. And it's just through that process of actually creating that artwork that then elevates their platform and puts them on a pedestal, where then, you know, it just has that snowball effect. And maybe it is the Archibald that starts that cascading effect.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how it gets judged and whether or not it's successful.
Creating a piece that has a bit of a political slant and seeing how this fits into the fold of everything else. There's just so much about what you do that we could explore, because I even saw in one of the posts that you put up, you asked the question, what is it that people want to see more of? And I think the most common response was everything.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And
give me something I can talk about. I find it really difficult to make content. Like, it's not something that comes naturally. And I feel like, I was talking to my brother about it. He came over and helped me frame up the Archibald piece. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing all this content for?" I was like, "Oh, because I'm just trying to just be more me. Just let people understand who I am." And he's like, "Yeah, I get the cringe ick when I see some of your things, because it just doesn't sound like you." And like, I can hear it. I can feel it when I'm doing it. Like right now, just talking to you, totally fine.
Yeah.
But when I'm trying to create authentic content, I just find it incredibly difficult. Like, I don't know what people want to hear. I guess I'm so embedded in everything in my life. I just find it boring. But I know other people, I've got a very unique story, very unique mix of things that I do. So I know people probably find that interesting. I just don't know how to create and deliver something in an authentic way that is interesting.
And it is especially hard because, you know, you have so many diverse interests. And I know what you mean by, like, you just don't feel as though that you have anything worth sharing because you're in it. But I think that there's a lot of people that don't realize that the interesting things lie in the more everyday, mundane, boring type stuff.
So I think people will get more out of listening to this podcast than listening to a 35-second reel that I try and put together.
Maybe, but you know what I
Because
realize?
this is the real me. This isn't trying to get views or likes or, you know, any of that stuff. This is just having a
chat.
Yeah.
What I liked was that 40 hours spent on researching a lawnmower just to mow. See, like that, man, that...
Turns out that lawnmower is actually shit.
Is it?
Sorry, Ego. Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I want to know every single option available.
Yeah.
And where on the scale of shit to the best is the thing that I'm getting.
And I'm going to...
Just so when I buy it, I know that I fucked this one up. But
Oh, dude,
anyway.
I'll overspend. Overspend, overcommit.
Yeah, that's
generally
major
all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just that relatability, seeing that, and also just seeing with your kids getting into Spider-Man costumes. It's just that kind of stuff where you don't think that is what people will connect with and relate to. You know, you put in so much time and energy into your work, into your artwork, into your the brand, the fashion brand, into the run club, and people just want to see you goof around. But the goofing around is just, it's the time away from all that. And I don't see how that is content as well, but it is. That's the stuff that people want to see. And I'm not going to be recording that unless
it's also like the difficulty of recording it. Like when you're in the moment doing something, I'm not going to go and get the tripod out and stick it up, and it feels kind of forced.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, maybe I just need to hire a full-time videographer just to follow me around.
Follow you around the house.
Yeah.
There's this basketballer, Matisse Tybal. He was in the Boomers team, and he had a whole vlog. So before he was on the Boomers, he was quite popular in the YouTube circles. Had a great channel, behind the scenes, look at how he just kind of like is a professional basketballer. And at the end of every clip, he would show a bit of a behind the scenes of how these bits were done. And it's exactly what you think, right? So he'll go on a bushwalk, for example, but then it'll be him propping up the camera, walking back, walking past the camera, circling back to pick up the camera.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes. I don't know if I'm cut out.
It's a whole process.
It's a process.
I see that thing with the running stuff all the time. Like, there'll be someone that does some running content, and they'll like run up to the camera, and then
circle back.
It's like, hold on, you didn't just leave your camera there while you're out on a 45-minute run. So you've obviously just like go and put it down, run back, and then run back to your camera, and just like for content.
For content.
It just like it's a funny world we live in.
Yeah, and I've had this conversation about how like we're from a generation that is trying to almost just take all the lessons and everything and how we have learnt how to develop a professional career. Not even just a professional career, but how we live our lives, right? And because like social media was introduced to us probably about midway through, right, when we've already have a bit of a grasp on how to live. But there's a lot of people now that are born into it, that they have a camera in their face from day one. Like my kids, when they were born, there's a camera in their face, right? Like seconds. And then from there, it's just camera, shot. Try not to share so much with my kids on social media, but it's there. It's just part of life, like a digital profile, digital interactions. That is as much as part of life as real world connections that they form with their friends at school. So they are innately kind of like developing to also think about how they should be curating that space as well.
It's natural to them.
It is. It's natural. And it's hard for us to understand that. Where, like, because for us, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? There's been times, man, when I've been sitting just in a shopping centre. My wife would be in whatever store. I'll be on a bench. And then just out of nowhere, there'll be a group of girls just starts dancing. And I'm looking around like, what's happening here? TikTok. Yeah. Right? Like, this is the world we live in now. It's like, oh, God, that's just how it is. That's
Yeah.
normal. But it's, I don't know, man. Like, you play to it as much as you want, and you
I
offer
just
as
kind of
much
want people to know who I am. That's like the crux of it. I want people to know the real me, because I've been doing the Instagram stuff with like static photos, and
Mm.
you can make them look great, but like people get this idea of you because it's like so polished,
Yeah.
and that's not what my life is. My life is absolute chaos.
Chaos. I know what you mean.
It's a mess, in the best kind of way, but I want people to understand that, and I just want to do it in an authentic way that also maintains some sort of integrity, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I want it to have some sort of aesthetic that it doesn't have to be polished, but it doesn't. I don't want it to be like
I mean, life's
dog
not
shit
polished,
ugly.
right?
You know, like I want to have some sort of like standard that I create that sort of content to, and I'm finding it hard to have that authenticity and I guess the right representation about like how I would feel comfortable being represented, especially as an artist. I find like you look at some of the biggest artists in the world on their Instagram, like they're not really sharing a lot of their life. It's always about the art only, and I always toil with like, should I even bother? Should it just be about the art? Should I be talking only about the art on my Instagram? I think I've got a unique point of view on the world and a unique story, so I do want to share it, but I toil with it. Everyone says it to me, you do so much, how do you do it? I feel like they're all kind of one project.
It's just one thing.
It's just all creative.
All creative.
They're all creative.
The running club?
Yeah, it's creative.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are the takeaways that you take from the running club and you inject it the other bits, whether it be the rebels or painting or...
It's not a direct correlation. There's not like a specific thing from the running club that I take into the rebels or the art practice, but it's the creativity, it's the overlap of the creativity. So my best friend Cam, who I started the run club with, all ours, he's a landscape architect. So we both have this passion for design, and we started turning up for longevity and consistency and to stay healthy during, I think it was the back end or middle of COVID, and we just thought it'd be cool to make a couple of hoodies. So we made a couple of hoodies, and like we got pretty invested into the design side of it. We didn't just put the brand name on it. We really designed and put some effort into like thinking about how we'd present the run club, the brand of it. And we just get so much feedback. Oh, your merch is always so good. And I
It's
think
a culture in and of itself, man, that run club.
It's like the creativity that we put into it, I think, has formed the identity of the run club, and I think that goes a long way to the success of it. The running is it's definitely really important, and I think the running aspect and how that feeds into the rest of my life is it's the consistency and that healthy mindset to make sure that we turn up every week, and knowing that we have to turn up 2 or 3 times a week for other people, not just for ourselves, but we do it for ourselves ultimately. It just instills this practice, I guess, of like healthy habits. And it's always every week you come back to like, I have to get up in the morning at 5 a.m. to go for a run. You got to perform, and you got to make the right decisions the night before. You're not drinking, you're not eating bad food. It's all of those things, and I think that the byproduct of that in my creative life is a clear mind.
Dude, on the weekend had Ollie's 40th, and right after that had another friend's birthday. That was on Saturday. My long run days are Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
So it just meant that Saturdays was just like waters.
Yeah.
And as much as you kind of want to let loose, but Sunday felt so much better for it.
Oh, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just becomes, and like what you were saying, is just that consistent practice. So it's not like I even really had to think about it. It's like, yeah, it's just not on.
Yeah, after a period of time, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you managing with the meniscus though?
That's only new. This will be the 4th tear that I've had in my meniscus. I had 2 in my left, and this is the 2nd one in my right. So I don't know. I got a specialist appointment and see what he says. It's most likely surgery, from what the doctor said. But it won't stop me. Like, even if I have to walk, it'll still be something that I get up and do.
So you're still turning up every morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just doing whatever it is that you can?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's still gym. There's still, I can get on a bike.
Yeah.
I can swim. I'm not a great swimmer, but I'll do something.
With the running thing, you started that when you say around about COVID?
Yeah, I think it was 2022.
What do you reckon?
4 years, basically.
What do you reckon has been the catalyst for this? Like, it seems like everyone's getting
Running.
involved in it now.
It's definitely trendy. I don't know. I feel like when we started ours, there was like 2 run clubs in Melbourne.
Yeah.
The other 2 big ones, AM, PM, sort of north side, and then Hunter, which are more of like a performance, like pretty elite level of run club. And there wasn't really something that catered to like the everyday runner. And I guess they're the sort of people that we attract. It wasn't on purpose. And after training for my first marathon in 2021, I sort of fell in love with that process of training for a marathon and the different types of runs that you do when you go through that. Because I used to go out and try and smash 3K and 5K and just run as fast as I could. You know, everyone does that when they don't know how to run. You just want to run your fastest 5K. And you don't understand that you have to go slower to run faster. And all that whole process of like doing track sessions and long runs and tempos and all of those things combined. So when we started the run club, our mentality was we'll set it up 3 days a week and that will be structured around event training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of how we started.
Dude, that's when I started running. It was around about COVID time, and it was daily. And actually, this is if you want to take it all the way back, that's how all of this started. Like big time midlife slump, right? Like this whole what the fuck is going on, and it went through this whole thing of trying to figure out. And the first thing that I could work on was just health, right? Like I've always been, I guess, fit and healthy, but at that point I wasn't. So as a way of just punishing myself, it was every day you're going to go out and you're going to run 3Ks every day. No matter what, you're just going to get out there and you're just going to go smash them out.
So within the 5K radius then?
Within, yeah. And then it eventually got to 5Ks.
Yeah.
But then every day it was just like smash. And it was painful.
How did that go for you? You get injured doing that?
No, I didn't. And that went for quite a while, man. That was probably for about, it was a bunch of months. Bunch of months of just lacing up every day and running. And then there was some days hungover and just like rotten. And that's when I was like, I can't do this hungover. So, but I still wanted to continue doing it. But to your point about having things structured, there are a lot of, I guess, with the overlap, I spent a lot of time thinking about what are the transferable lessons from doing this type of run to then how do I apply it to everything else, or at least what's the philosophy behind it. And then when you're talking about the whole running slower, I remember the first time when I was trying to do a zone 2 run, I was like, this is easy, no problems. The next day, my legs were shot. Every part of it, using muscles that I just hadn't before, really engaging in all of it. And then it just got me thinking, like, what's actually going on here? You know, like if you're running slower, you're allowing your muscles to feel more of what you're trying to do. And it's the same as picking up any kind of new habit, right? Like playing an instrument, I thought was the best example, where when you're sitting behind a piano or the keyboard, you're tapping away, but you're very mindful of every little finger stroke, and your brain is activated in a way that's just more front-loaded of next key. And much the same as when you're doing a slow run, you're actively trying to engage certain muscles to the point where your body just becomes automatic with it. And that's when you're able just to have a particular type of rhythm and maintain this cadence and keep everything moving smoothly. And then you just take that analogy and you transfer that across to everything else that you're doing. You know, you just have to go through the process of really having to think hard about what it is. Like for you, it's just like with your artwork, just having to get every precise dot, right? And knowing the pressure, the feeling of the pressure of the airbrush. But now it's just second nature. You've got that muscle memory. So I think about that. I just try to see how these lessons can be transferred across. What's your take on it with the artist and the art? What do you reckon should be held in higher esteem?
I think they're one and the same.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm on the side of the artist. I don't think that there's much value in the art without the artist. I think that if you take the artist out of it, then the art is meaningless. Whereas on the other side, you take the art away, that's still a human being. That's still a person that has something to offer, that has a story to share. Not necessarily through their art. It doesn't have to be through their art, but
The way that I see it is it's an extension of the artist.
yeah.
So the independent gallery space I set up next to my studio, it's called Thought Forms.
Thought forms.
The idea of that is you have a thought as an artist in your brain and you express that through art and it takes a form. So it's a thought form.
Mm.
And that, I think, is an extension. It's like artists shedding ideas, but they exist in reality, not just in the brain. So
Yeah.
I don't think you can have one without the other.
But then when we talk about what we share online, I don't know how authentic it can really be, because for me, once the camera's on, this is a little bit different. This setting's a bit different. I'm comfortable with this. But if I'm speaking to a camera, I shut down, man.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Like I'm starting this new series where I'm going to be reviewing, or at least just taking the lessons from every podcast episode and using them and applying them to what I'm doing, whether it be the art practice or the podcast practice, and just speaking to it. The first episode that I dropped, it was 8 minutes. The recording time for that was an hour and a half. I was just there talking, trying to do take after take until I felt it was perfect. And what I mean by perfect was that it was delivered in a way that felt natural, but just the actual practice of sitting there and talking felt completely unnatural. So it took me an hour and a half to cut up an 8-minute video. So I don't know. I don't know where the line is from just trying to be authentic, but then having a camera in your face, whether or not it is possible to actually capture that authenticity. Because it's just like you said, life is chaotic. It's mayhem, and it's like, when you got mates coming around, someone's coming around the house. What do? You just kind of tidy up a little bit. Right? You don't want them to see what it's like, but everyone does that, right? So there's already a level of inauthenticity, I suppose.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, when we're trying to present something.
Yeah.
And you don't want people to see it. you don't want people to have a peek behind.
You know what it's like when you've got two kids, though. Sometimes it's just, you let it slip.
Oh,
Sometimes my dad comes around to pick up our son for like a Monday morning, because he looks after him on Mondays. And the house is just an absolute wreck from the weekend. There's shit everywhere. Food on the floor, toys everywhere. He comes from a very pristine, organised, clean house. Like, there wouldn't be a piece of dust that's out of place. And he comes over, he doesn't say anything, but like, I don't know. I just know that he must be thinking this is absolute
How
chaos.
are they living like this?
Yeah, how are they living like I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to get someone to school, get food made for lunch and breakfast, and get out the door and go to work. Like, it's just, you just do what you have to do.
Yeah, there are definitely times when you spend like a weekend. I find weekends to be far more chaotic than weekdays.
Yeah.
Because you're at home and it's that full dedication to a home life. And you're constantly chasing your tail. Come Sunday evening and the place is just a fucking mess. And you're like, how did it get here? We were working, busting our asses all weekend. But you're just constantly going to be behind.
Yeah.
And that's just
Yeah,
life.
it's hard to catch up.
And I don't know if you can capture that quality. And maybe that is the quality. Maybe it's like, look at this shit.
Yeah.
Look at what we look at how it is.
This is how I live.
Life. This is how I live, yeah. And then you contrast that with your work, where your work requires precision.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the contrast. Maybe that is the juxtaposition.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's my escape.
There's complementary pieces throughout all of our lives, right? So,
Yeah.
you have your chaos and your mayhem at home. You go to your studio and you're just locked in.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's just try to separate ourselves from the mayhem. You could either just try to separate or just embrace it somehow.
I've almost embraced it. I get to a particular threshold of mess, and then I lose it.
Then it is.
My wife cops it, because I just get into this like full rage in my head, and I just have to like clean up like a bull. It doesn't like I just have to get the dishes away. I got to get you know what it's like if the dishwasher's not empty, and you got your dishes
everything
in
piles
there,
up. Yeah,
the rest of the kitchen's a mess. Same with the washing machine. You got to get those two things sorted. Get the washing line unhung, rehang it. Once that's done, the rest of it is manageable. But if there's like multiple loads of all of that, it's just it's chaos. So I just try and get on top of it.
This is going from a creative podcast just to midlife.
How to dad?
Well, we don't know. Don't know how to dad, man. We just surviving. But no, it's just part of life, and that juggle and that juxtaposition. That was one of the things I was talking with Sam Octagon. You know Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a new dad when he came on.
Yep.
And just managing that because he was about to exhibit, and also soon after that was going to be touring, and his daughter at the time was only a handful of months old. And it's just, how do you do it? You just do it. You just do it, and you kind of just like keep your head above water the whole time, and that's basically it. That scramble, and you know when we spoke the last time, it was about just loving it all, and just being just very grateful that we're in a position to have all these things. And sometimes it can feel like, oh my god, but at the same time, like, mate, fucking hell,
you wouldn't give it back for anything in the world.
Nah,
it's beautiful.
It's I don't think that life could be any better right now. And there are times when I also try to think ahead a little bit, like whatever it is that I'm trying to build, it's going towards something. Whatever this North Star is, whatever the big picture is, I sometimes will entertain the idea of like, what would happen when I get there? And then when I get there, I'm always looking back and be like, fuck, how good was this time? Like, you know, when things just felt a little bit more humble. And it's almost like that the come up and that sense of potential is more meaningful than the realization of it. And that's what it feels like for me. And I try to use that contrast and looking over at how things have progressed over the years. And even, during COVID, that was rough for a lot of people, but I would look back at the times in COVID and be like, fuck, how good was that?
It was actually unreal. To be able to spend time at home on your own terms, walking daily, fresh air.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people
it was very difficult for a lot of people, but my experience of it was, we can talk about all the negative shit that happened, but what I got out of it was, I think it was pretty good.
I think that's really just comes down to the lens that you want to see it, right?
Yeah. I stopped drinking, taking drugs during COVID. That was incredible. Do you know about 75 Hard? Have you heard of that?
Ooh, why have I heard of that?
It's like a 75-day fitness challenge.
Yeah, go on.
And it's like 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside. You got to read 10 pages of a book, which sounds easy, but to consistently do that, it can be challenging. You can basically have any diet you want, but you're not allowed to cheat, so you got to set what it is and stick to it for 75 days, no alcohol. And then you can throw in your own one. So I think I did meditation every day, and then we did cold showers as well. I did that with Cam, and we ended up doing 2 back to back. And
150 days.
Yeah, I think we might have had a drink at the end of the first one, because we were relatively big drinkers. Like, we'd catch up on Friday nights and have 6 beers and gin and tonics and whatever, eat bad food, pizza or whatever. And we did that, and just like, because we recognised it being in this situation of lockdown, like we could get into a pretty bad way if you keep drinking and taking drugs and like doing all this stuff. And it just completely flipped my mindset, and it like instilled this healthy habits thing, which is sort of what eventually spawned the Run Club. But got a lot out of that. That was massive turning point for me.
Forming the habitual, I guess, like the forced habituation, or specifically with alcohol?
No, just the forced healthy choices every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just instilled this like discipline that I think I've always been pretty disciplined, hard worker, but I don't know, it just changed this other aspect of my life that I was kind of just like cruising with.
And then In terms of just like applying that to your career and just the progression of things, when you look back, I guess, at how things have kind of moved along, I mean, how much of that do you put down to, I guess, how much of your success would you put down to just having consistency and just having discipline? Because personally for me, I would say that the areas where I failed is because the lack of those things.
It's hard to say. Like, I feel like I was very lucky, and I say lucky with a caveat, because luck isn't just like, oh, you're lucky. That's a lot of hard work and an opportunity that meet at the same time to create an opportunity which is lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very lucky at the start of my career to sort of fall into this airbrush and neon style of painting, and that just took off. So I feel like that was self-perpetual, but to consistently keep that as a career over 9 years from that point, I think has required a lot of consistency and dedication and discipline.
Anything that's necessarily like that you had to consciously apply, or was it just how things just evolved?
I think it's just how it evolved. I'm just naturally like pretty hard work ethic. I am very disciplined, probably to a fault.
So when you say like to a fault, would it just be that there'll be times when you should have pivoted, but then just stuck to it?
I'm too hard on myself. I want to be too perfect in what I'm doing, like make sure it's the best it can be. But I don't know, maybe some people see that as a quality in the work, but my wife might say otherwise, like I'm spending too much time at work and not spending time with kids. So it depends what perspective you're coming at it from. That's definitely something that this year I've taken a very mental note of. Like last year, I burned myself into the ground. Like at the end of the year, I was an absolute wreck. I had a show during the year. We had a baby in September. We were doing a house renovation, bathroom, backyard, landscaping, and I was doing 2.5 of those renovation projects. And I had massive commissions due before Christmas. And we launched the kids' clothing brand in September, like literally 2 weeks before the baby was due. And I was just trying to get everything done before Christmas. And I was a wreck. I wasn't spending time at home, or very little. And this year, I went into the year, I've got to slow down. Like it's not healthy. And this year, I've very proactively spent more time at home, slower starts to the morning, spend more time with the kids, not say yes to every single project that comes across the desk. And I've already had multiple things this year that I could have done, and I've had to sort of step back and say no, which is a hard thing for me to do. But so far it seems to be holding me in a pretty good stead.
Man, there's so much of that resonates with me. That whole like, when it rains it pours. But what I've given a lot of thought into these, I guess, like trying to do so much. And I wonder for you, when you were saying that you're trying to get everything done before Christmas, how much does it sink in with you that the deadlines that we have are completely self-imposed?
Totally. Apart from the clients that want our work before Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the only reason the deck had to be finished before Christmas was for Christmas lunch, but we could have eaten inside. It's not a big deal. But I just get so fixated on these things, and it's just, they're self-imposed deadlines, and they can be your ruin. And
that's one of the things when you're working for yourself, right? Like, you set your own goalposts and you hold yourself accountable to meeting those goals and those deadlines.
Yeah.
And it's just what happens when you don't meet them. Like, what actually happens? What happens? Like, you just move it.
Literally nothing.
Yeah, nothing. One of the
boss isn't going to fire you.
No, they're stuck with you. Actually, mate, in saying that, there's so many times where on this podcast I've fucked up that if I was an employee, I would have lost my job by now. So there's that, right? Yeah. And I still have this job that's not paying.
Yeah.
So there's still that to hang on to. But there is the best advice I had from a mate when I started doing this, and he knew, knowing how things were going to progress, he said, just remember that no one gives a shit about your deadlines. It's like, just remember that, right? Like, if you say that you're going to do something by this date and you don't, no one's going to care, right? It's just entirely you. So I've been trying to remind myself of that. And there are times where it slips. I'm like stressing out trying to get podcasts done. Like, there's a particular cadence which I'm trying to adhere to. But then it's like, what happens if you don't? What happens if you kind of like you release it the day after or the week after? And then you free up that time. You release the pressure off that valve, and all of a sudden now you have time to paint, and you have time to plan, and you have all this extra space and resources that's actually going to...
It's like a weight off your shoulder.
It's a big weight, there's that for sure. But then it's, instead of trying to... Then you're just taking yourself off the hamster wheel for a second and giving yourself an opportunity to look through more of a macro lens. And then you can strategize a little bit more and just like, hang on a second, let's just have a look, right? Like, you were just stuck with this really narrow focus of like, I just got to get this thing done. And let's just have a look whether or not that is actually ideally the next best step that you should be taking.
Yeah.
And does it actually move you closer towards where you want to go? And sometimes you just need to give yourself that opportunity, man. So it sounds like that's what's happening this year.
Yeah.
So with all that said, the juggle's still there.
It's still there. It feels more managed. It feels more intentional.
What's changed? You're still doing all the same things.
I think just actively trying to go a little bit slower. I mean, my wife is incredible in the way that she can talk me off a ledge and make me step out of that hamster wheel. She's my rock for that reason, because I get so, like you said, narrow focused on something, and I can work myself up about it. She'd be like, does it matter? And I think that influence has made me try and like just change how I do things this year. And I'm just actively going slower. Like, things get done. I mean, the kids slow me down as well. That's probably another thing. You know, it's like with 2 kids, like, it can be a shit fight. And I think you just I'm trying to deal with that. Not deal with it, but like be there first and foremost this year, and then everything else sort of comes secondary to that.
Yeah, it kind of has to.
Yeah.
I had a thought last night and it scared me, like, petrified me. Where like my son, my 2-year-old, he's getting to doing a lot of drawing, loves it. And he's almost like weirdly constantly drawing. So we're encouraging that. At the same time, there's just shit everywhere around the house. And I had this thought where like I picked up one of his drawings, like the ones that he did yesterday, and I flashed forward to him being a teenager, and I held this drawing that he did, and it's like, oh fuck, I remember when you did this. And it scared me, it petrified me, because I was like, dude, there's going to be a time in 15 years time where you're going to be looking back at this, you know, and that's inevitable.
It goes in a...
Like, best case...
blink of an eye.
It does, man. Best case scenario, you get that moment. Best case. But it's going to happen. So what are you going to be doing about that? Like, what are the things that you're going to be thinking in 15 years' time, in 20 years' time? What are you going to be thinking then that you should be bringing back now?
That's definitely a lot of why I've made the decision to slow down this year. Our eldest he's just turned 4, and it is such a good age. Like, I'm sure all ages are good for their own particular reason, but he's at that point where he's like, he idolizes you, and he does funny things that he's not embarrassed by. He just is, and everything's fun, and like,
and you got to lean into that, man.
You do, and like I've been looking at homeschooling and like what sort of is involved with that, and I've seen a lot of stuff around like rushed mornings. You set an alarm for the kids. You get them up, you rush them out the door, and there's no time for them to enjoy life. It's just like rush. And to be out, like, as an artist, it's a very privileged life to be able to run your mornings how you want to run them on your own terms. And he'll get up, I'll be back from the gym, he'll be in our bed, and we might get out of bed at 8 o'clock in the morning. But it's like, we're just spending time together. And it's such a beautiful thing. And like, at the end of last year when I wasn't spending much time at home, I felt like I was really missing out on that. And he was at such a great age. And I think that's definitely another reason why I've chosen to be a little bit more intentional with what I'm doing day to day. Because like, you're right, you're never going to get that time back. And once it's gone, it's gone. So I'm just trying to savor every minute I can while still maintaining like the other businesses and other parts of my life as well.
It was just this morning when I was saying, like, during that rush, the school rush, was I'm really looking forward to school holidays, because that rush is just the most intense part of the day. And that's just gone. At least for a couple of weeks, we have that respite of not having that rush, where there's just no like deadline. You're going to be out the door by this time. My son, he's now at his age, he's 9, and this is something that, just to give you a bit of foresight, is that he's now starting to get a bit of a concept of time. Of course, he knows how to read time, but I'm not talking about reading and understanding time. Like, well, like, what does it actually mean? Like, when kids have the way that they engage, the way they interact, is that they're just completely in that moment, right? And I don't want to take that away from him, but at the same time, I need him to be mindful that we need to be somewhere at this particular time. But he doesn't quite, he's starting to understand now at this age that how to forecast from, at this point, we're here, but we need to be there, and then later on, we're going to be there, and then this is at the end of the school day, and then so on and so forth. That seems to be how we live our lives, but that also takes you out of the present moment so much. And I find that I am so often living ahead of myself. You know, when I'm sitting here having conversations, I can be in the conversation. When I'm with the boys, I find that there are times where I'm also thinking about all these other things that I need to do. And I don't want to take that away from him. I want him to be able to be constantly, or at least just be mindful of what it's like to be in the present moment and not to be thinking too far ahead. And it's a tough one, because like it's a system that we have developed to keep things moving, right? To live. But then, you know, going back to what we're talking about early on, it does mean that there's something that we lose along the way. And it's
creativity.
A big part of it, man. It's definitely a big part.
Everyone can be an artist.
Yeah. Like, it's for sure. Everyone has the capacity to be an artist, and I think that, like, what was Pablo Picasso saying? It's like it took him a lifetime to create like a kid again.
Yeah, it's something, I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like that.
But it is that. It's about just trying to understand all the systems that we have built around our lives, and what can we peel back, and what do we really just not need to live with, and then how can we then flourish with less, ideally, because there's just so much bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that becoming a full-time artist has given me. I used to work, I guess you'd call it corporate, like for a furniture company, and I was a buyer, home waste buyer, and the whole point of it is to like buy products and sell them and do that whole thing. And I was on a good salary. My wife, Nikki, was on a good salary. We built this house, and it was amazing. We'd spend money on clothes and shoes and just crap we didn't need.
Balling out.
Yeah, pretty much. In some ways, I'm a little bit embarrassed by it. Like, we were just spending so much money that we didn't need to spend. And become a full-time artist, and then you have very lumpy, inconsistent income. But the upside, the payoff, is the freedom. And it's such a privilege to be able to live like that. And that has been probably the biggest change for me in the way that I live, from going from like a corporate full-time employed role to becoming a full-time artist. And I can't go back. Like, there's something in me that makes me feel sick about going back and working for someone.
Yeah.
Like, Nikki says, you know, sometimes when finance is tight, she's like, why don't you get a job? Like, I can't go and work at a desk looking at a screen. Like, some people can, but I've had a taste of this freedom, and the thought of going back and tying myself to a desk 9 to 5 to make profit for someone else, just in giving up that time, the time is the critical pace. I just feel like I'm wasting my life, and it's like a wasted potential. I'm doing a job that I hate, and people put a number on it, and you're just another cog in their wheel. I just can't do it.
Been there, man. And same sort of thing. I had to draw a line in the sand, and the rationale was very much identical. It's like, what's the opportunity cost with everything, right? And then you got to weigh that up. And the freedom is a big one. I don't think that there's ever enough time. So I think that no matter what, we'll be looking back at this freedom that we have and still think it's not enough.
Yeah, still think we haven't used it well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because when you're in the situation that we're in, there's more expectation and more demand.
Yeah.
You know, like the beauty of just being able to switch off from your 9 to 5 is beautiful. But when you go home, you can just not give a fuck about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You
know,
can't do
Thursday
that.
payday's coming. If you're working for someone else, it's a nice little comfort thing.
Yeah, you just get through the week. You got the weekend, and you can just do whatever. The weekends are yours. And then even like
it's a lot for 2 days though. Five
I
days for 2 days. It's a big trade-off.
It's a big trade-off. But even like public holidays would be nice to have back.
Yeah.
that'd be great. Like with Easter coming up, and you know, like you get asked what you're doing for Easter. I'm like, I don't know.
It's the same I do every day.
Yeah. It's the same. And school holidays are coming up. It's like it's the same. Yeah. But it is just a matter of identifying the opportunity cost, and I think that is something that we don't look at often enough. We look at the upside of a lot of things and not consider what the downsides, what is it that we're giving up for that upside. And that's it. For me, it's a sinking feeling, man. Like I think I totally get that despair that you feel when, you know, because they say that you can always just go back to
well, that was my mindset when I quit. Like when I took the leap to become a full-time artist, I was like, well, I can always get another job. But I didn't realize I'd have a taste of it, and I wouldn't be able to get another job because I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
It's different. It's not even, I don't even think it's a fair comparison, right? Like I don't think that having the life that you have and being able to create your own structure and having that agency over how you want to run it versus those that are being told this is the template of how you should be running things. I think a lot of people do find comfort in that though, where they don't want the autonomy.
Yeah,
they just
totally. There's definitely people out there that prefer that. They prefer turning up, getting a paycheck, and it's just who they are. They just like it, and it's comfortable. And I get that. I actually saw a psychologist, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, and I just did it because I wanted to learn more about myself. And one thing, you just said the word then, one thing that he identified was I have an issue around agency, and it's been an ongoing, like he identified it throughout my life, this ongoing issue of like me having a problem with not authority, but people telling me what to do. And it just rung out so loud, like when he told me about it, I was like, oh, of course, like, so it's just who I am.
I wonder if that is just a common thread amongst all these independent creatives. I guess I take issue with authority. There has to be some sort of rebellious streak in this.
A little bit.
That, especially, you know, running could just be self-imposed punishment.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah. There's that Nike line. If you don't hate it a little, you don't love it enough.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly it. Like this morning I had my interval run, and I spend so much time worrying about it. It's just being sick to my stomach about having to do it. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, this still sucks. And I still am not enjoying this at all. And it was only just when it finishes, there's that relief. And I'm like, oh my God, that was why would I?
Relief and then satisfaction. Do you get the satisfaction after?
From
completing it?
From an interval and tempo run, there's no satisfaction.
None.
No, not none. It's relief.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do it for another week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what that's like. I get a lot of satisfaction from doing my long runs.
Yeah.
That's the best. For me, that's like, for all the personal things that I do, that is the highlight of my week, where I can just get out there, think, ponder, run, come back, soak in a bath.
Are you a with headphones guy or a
Depends on how far I've got to run.
30K?
Then I'm definitely putting headphones on.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's going to be more than 2 hours, I get bored. Yeah, I get bored with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's going to be more than 2 hours, then I need to put something on for sure. But otherwise, I'm pretty good with just thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking and just coming up with nonsense ideas. But it's also it's just that just that little escape, or not even escape. That's not fair. It's not really escape. It's just the opportunity is to be isolated. I think that for some people it could be pretty painful being with your own thoughts, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, even though I run with heaps of people.
That's actually something that I don't do. I've never really done that. I've never run in a group. I think it's selfish that, like, for me, running is a selfish pursuit.
Yeah.
It's something that I just want to do by myself on my own. And it's just so varied as well. Like, how do you guys... There's such a spectrum of the standard and the level of people are at. How do you manage that?
It depends what session it is. Like, the flagship social run around the town, you can do 1, 2, or 3 laps, and we have a leader that leads off every week, so it'll be someone from the community that we want to highlight and let them share their story.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll lead off, and the group will sort of run together as a pretty condensed group for like the first 800 metres to a kilometre. And then it just spreads out naturally.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're a little bit slow,
I guess it would.
and then they come back and have coffee. The track sessions, again, we'll generally set it up so there's like 4 or 5 different pace groups, and you don't even have to stick with the pace group. It's just like a rough time of where you fit in. So your gaps in between your intervals are about the same, and you all run to your own ability.
Yeah.
Like if you're a 4-minute K person, then you fit in with the 4-minute people. There might be someone at 4:10. There might be someone at 3:50. So it's not.
Dude, these are fast times, man.
Yeah, if you're doing 1K efforts, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Not. I mean, 3:50 is pretty quick. But we go up to like 5:30
for 1Ks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got a full spectrum of people.
Yeah.
People down at 3 minutes. People up.
They're all. That's even at 5:30. If you're just doing 1K efforts, that's still someone who's a seasoned runner.
Yeah. And then
No slouches.
Sunday long run. We've fortunately been able to get around 25 pacing volunteers. So that has a very broad spectrum of people that'll run 6-minute Ks to people that run like 4:30s or 4-minute Ks for like a long run.
How long are your long runs?
It depends if we're training for a marathon block. Generally, we'll just taper up.
Yeah.
For a couple of blocks throughout the year. So we'll do. At the moment, we're in like the back stages of Ballarat Marathon. So I think we're at like week 12 or 13 or something.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they're doing like 32K distances at the moment. And then that'll sort of drop off and people will start picking up for, I think the next one's Gold Coast.
Is that August?
It's June or July. I think
Okay.
it might be July. And then in between that, there'll be people that start training for Sydney. And then off the back of that, we'll have people doing Melbourne.
Ah.
So we'll have different distances every week, different pace groups. So we're lucky. That's how we do it. We've just got different people at different abilities.
That's great, man. Yeah, I do love the idea that there are more people that taking their health and wellness seriously. One of the things that I spoke about was that, like, you know, all the different pursuits that you have, and same with me, I didn't give it much thought as to whether or not these were, I guess, like decisions that I made on my own, right? Like, the running thing came at a time and it felt independent to the podcast thing, that felt independent to the art thing, and all these things kind of, then they start to coalesce and start to come in and, you know, form one whole thing. But then when I started looking into it, all of those things was culturally happening at the same time. So there was a lot of people that were running, and then Podcast was just an extension of, I guess, mindfulness and wellness. I guess that's how I've structured this particular podcast, with a creative slant to it all. But then it was like, did I choose all of these things, or were they fed to me through the algorithms and got me thinking? It's like, hey, you want to just sample a bit of this, and then now it's just like, how much of this was it agency, and how much of it was I guess manufactured.
Yeah, subconsciously.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I do wonder how much, when we try to take agency, how much agency do we actually think we have versus how much do we actually have?
Well, you wouldn't continue to do it if you didn't enjoy it.
But then it's also like, am I enjoying it because I enjoy it, or am I just enjoying the challenge? I love the conversations. I love sitting and learning from people, right? And just connecting with people that are doing some cool shit, and that I can take inspiration from and then inject it back into what I'm doing. But then I'm also thinking, like, everything's going to be hard one way or another. If you really wanted to be, you can make anything hard. Like, even going back to a full-time job, I could even just like direct my attention and just say that I want to be the best at this particular thing. And how we have chosen these particular pursuits is, I wonder whether or not I chose them, or it was already kind of there. Don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
But no, but you are right. I am enjoying the challenge that is presented with all these different pursuits. The running one is a tough one, because it's like, what am I doing? Like, why am I training harder? What's it for, right? Like, for me, like, I'm chasing the sub 4, the marathon. And then what happens when I get it? What do? I'm not going to stop. So what actually is that? And then with the podcast, what happens when I reach episode 100? Then it's episode 200. And it just keeps going. Like, is it then just the doing of it, rather than being able to achieve milestones?
I think you just need to get full enjoyment out of whatever you do.
You got to hate it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a grind in something. I mean, I was saying before, like, when I see a blank canvas and I know I have to paint all those dots, like, that's not the most fun feeling. But the satisfaction at the end of it, it's worth it.
How did the clothing brand come into the mix of this?
Fashion is actually I was originally trained as a fashion.
Oh, you studied fashion
designer, yeah, at TAFE when I finished school. So when I was in year 10, I saw the graffiti on the way up to the city when I catch a train from the peninsula from Frankston up to the city. And I was fascinated with it, like all the graffiti that you'd see. And I think Blank, do you remember Blank?
Yeah, the clothing brand.
Yeah, so that was pretty big back then. And I think that
still around.
Yeah, I saw someone wearing on the t-shirt the other day. The guy must have been like 50. It's like, that's sick. And I started printing like graffiti onto these hoodies and t-shirts, and I'd lug this cardboard box around school in like year 10 and like sell these hoodies and t-shirts to kids in the playground.
As in, you created the other artwork, or they were just like snapshot photos of?
No, so I would contact graffiti artists.
Yeah.
And they would do like, the brand was called Demo, and they would do like little demo sketches for me or tags or whatever, and then I'd convert them into like a screen printable graphic, similar to Blank. There was a few like more graphic design type things, and I'd just hock them in the schoolyard, and that's sort of how my love for fashion started. Left school, partied too hard for a couple of years, and then I was like, all right, well, I probably need to get serious with something. I might as well go and study fashion because I'm interested in it. And met my wife there. So we were both studying fashion. And this is back in 2003, I think we met, or 2004. And ended up starting a clothing label with two of my best mates from when we were studying. And I had that for 4 or 5 years. It was going really well, and then we got a distribution deal over in Scandinavia, or in Scandinavia, and we were very green. Like, we had 30 stockists around Australia. We had one in New Zealand, Tokyo. Like, it was going really well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was before e-commerce, so it was all wholesale. And we were like, all right, this is sick. We've got this big distribution deal. So we sent this order off, $70,000 worth of clothing back in like 2006. So it's, adjusted for inflation and stuff, it's probably like 150.
What was the brand?
It was called Rest in Peace.
Okay.
Funny name, because it's now dead. It's a great name, though. Still love it. And so we sent all this stock off, and we paid for everything up front. And we had 10% deposit from the distributor. And we just never heard from them again. Oh. And it put us under.
And that was the end of that.
That was the end of that. So after that, I went and got a job with my uncle at a bed linen store and worked my way up to be one of the directors of the business and learnt heaps there. That was like putting in custom CMS, custom websites, starting e-commerce. It was like, it was before, like well before Shopify. You were building like full custom websites, everything, front end, back end, all of it, working out how to do e-newsletters, like no MailChimp or any of those things. It was all rudimentary code. So I saw that side of the business, saw a lot of the manufacturing side of the business, a lot of travel overseas, looking at textiles and fabrics and designing homewares and bedding products, and worked my way up there. Ended up unfortunately having to leave the business because my uncle and I didn't see an alignment with where I thought the business needed to go. I felt like it was selling to an aging demographic, and it really needed a big rebrand and refresh. And I'd seen how Jardin had gone about revamping. Do you familiar with Jardin? Jardin Furniture?
No.
So it's a very Australian furniture company, very design-led, great branding, great products, very great storytelling, really sells you the dream of wanting to buy into the brand. And I felt like Abode really needed something like that to sort of reinvigorate it and kick it off into this next gear, as my uncle departed the business and my cousin and I took it over. And unfortunately, it wasn't an easy decision, but I had to end up leaving to go and do something else, and ended up approaching Jardin and asking if I could basically start their homewares
Oh, wow.
arm of their brand, because they just opened up it was fortuitous timing. I was debating whether or not I should leave Abode, and Jardin had just opened a massive showroom on Church Street in Richmond, big bronze awning on the front. I remember seeing it, like they were pulling off the wrapping off it, like it was brand new store. It was beautiful, like still one of the best stores in Melbourne. I was like, they've got furniture, they've got a couple of small bits of homewares. I'm a homewares expert, been doing it for the last 7 years. I'm going to go and approach them and see if I can really kick it off for them. So I hit them up, cold call, and made this portfolio and got myself a job.
Wow, okay.
So that's sort of how that part happened. And then obviously the art was sort of always bubbling away in the background. I had a little studio in Camberwell for a while, and then when I left the bedding business, went and got a shared studio over in Caulfield. And yeah, I think...
Were you over at the Arts Hole?
Yeah, I was there for a couple of years. Can't remember how long I was there for. Maybe 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It got too small for me because I was painting these massive paintings and...
It's pretty cramped in there.
People would steal my shit when I wasn't there.
That's
Pencils,
a shared studio,
rollers,
man.
and it just did my head in. I had limited time between work and going home, and you come in and you're trying to find something, and you spend 15 minutes trying to find out who took your pen. It's like, I can't deal with it. But it was good. It served its purpose. And then I know you asked me about how the clothing thing came about, but this is sort of the long-winded story of it. Ended up getting another shared studio, but with only one other person over in West Melbourne. And then I outgrew that probably within 6 months. was doing full solo shows of like massive work and needed something bigger. Ended up getting a big warehouse studio, 180 square meters or something in Cremorne at like a derelict old car garage, and just painted the whole thing white. And it ended up being the sickest studio. And that was there. I was there for like 3 years. It was great. But the clothing started because we had our son.
Yeah.
We were buying clothing from like H&M or Zara or wherever, Cotton On. But we'd go in there and get this clothing that would be like meant to fit him for his size. And it would be like tight sleeves, tight bodies. And he'd grow out of it in like 2 months. And it was a silhouette we hated. We're like, this is rubbish. So we'd size up like 3 or 4 sizes and get these big oversized sloppy sweaters, like roll the cuffs up. And we were like, we could actually just make our own stuff. We could do it better than what we're buying. And so we started making some samples, and Nikki's been working the whole time, so it's something that I sort of founded myself and got it going.
It's different to creating just a conventional clothing brand when it's for kids. From my understanding, that if you're doing something for kids, that the challenge is because you still have a quantity that you need to fulfill. The price point is going to have to come down less. There's got to be the price point is going to come down lower. Mm-hmm. There's less materials, but the labor is going to be the same. So the challenge would be trying to then do it, hitting particular price targets, but at the same time trying to meet where I guess like culturally where we are in terms of quality for kids and what we're willing to pay for them. So it's just a different subset of headaches.
Yeah, I mean, we found a bit of a niche in that, to be honest. Like, I guess having that sort of taste for higher priced items, we understood that market. And I think for kids stuff, there's not really anything out there. Like, you can get the really extreme, super expensive stuff like Kith and those types of brands. But there wasn't something that was like a more expensive, elevated kids brand. And I think we're trying to play into that a little bit more, because there's parents out there that are very like design, fashion conscious, and they don't want to drag their kid around like an afterthought. They want to dress their kid well. And we're not pricing it at a point where it's like unattainable, but we're not also pricing it to compete against Cotton On, because
you can't, and it's different.
Yeah, it's totally different. And I think one of our main points for the business, and it's not really a selling point, but something that I think we have as a value of the business and a pillar of the business, is sustainability through quality, and making sure we're choosing the right fabrics for the garment because it's a good quality fabric and it's going to last, rather than something like a cheaper mass market brand that you wash a couple of times and the whole thing's skewed and doesn't fit properly and shrinks up, and you don't want to hand it down. Like our denim, for example, for the kids, like we want that to last 2 or 3 life cycles, and it will, because it's good quality.
Another thing that doesn't get talked about enough within the kids' clothing circles is that it gets passed around a lot, right? Like we have clothes that, so my son Lennox, he's 9, we've passed on some of his clothes to friends, and now we have Aubrey who's 2, and it's come back to him. So when you're talking about life cycles, that it just makes sense to be able to invest in something like this, let it do the rounds and come back and still maintain its integrity.
Yeah. And Nikki's worked for a lot of the fast fashion brands in Australia. You'd know quite a few of them. But one of the things that kills us, both of us, is like the amount of waste.
Oh my God.
They sell these things for next to nothing, and at the end of the season, like, not every single brand, but like if it's done, it goes to landfill.
Yeah, I've had that conversation.
Not necessarily the businesses that she's working for, but like it's a known thing that like clothes that don't sell goes to landfill. And yeah, I mean, we've had the same thing with clothing getting passed around, and you get these bags of clothes from friends. I mean, we've even got bags of clothes at home that we're ready to pass on, and like you separate through it and you can see the stuff that has washed terribly, and you're like, no one's going to be able to wear that. But then you get this pile of stuff that's like well made, good quality fabrics. The design is timeless, so you can pass it on.
Yeah. So I guess like just looking at the whole pool and the whole spectrum of things, all the different challenges they bring, because it's one thing to say that, you know, we're all very multifaceted. We all have our lives to live. The artists, the creative people that I've sat across from, you know, that they have that particular practice, but there's so much around that practice that they inject back into their work. But it's also just trying to understand all the different challenges that those other facets present. You know, the ones that we actively choose and actively seek out. The fashion brand, the challenges that come with that, enormous, man. It's like me working out a range of merch and me sitting across from other people that have done similar things to yourself, that have fully fledged brands that have lasted the test of time. I would say that the challenge of developing a fashion brand could potentially be harder than any other, because there's just so much that you got to deal with, and also trying to forecast ahead and having to do a lot of work for potential returns in years to come. And
it's horrendous.
Yeah.
And I remember when I finished up at Rest in Peace, and I've always been jaded against starting a fashion brand. But there's something in me that makes me want to keep going back and designing clothing and graphics for clothing and like creating this stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's the hardest business. It's terrible, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
I mean, like the business side of it sounds like an absolute slog, but I get the whole, like, that was the point of creating Unofficial Goods, which is, I guess, the extension of Future History, was to be able to, like, when you wear something, you want it to represent you, right? And then if you can't find something out there that represents you exactly who you are, then I guess the next best thing is just to go out there and make it for yourself.
Yeah.
Back to that agency thing.
Yep.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. I just like having my kids look cool too.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, right? So you instilling a lot of the values that you've developed, put it in the clothes, and say, "Here, these are your values."
Yeah, wear it.
So by the time this comes out, we're going to be waiting for Archibald.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the end of April. And in that time, what else is happening in the world of Tom Adair?
Probably looking down the barrel of a knee surgery, so that's not too exciting. Run Club's got a massive Ballarat marathon event coming up, so we've got activations. We've actually hired or chartered a bus from Melbourne to Ballarat, and we've got the whole thing decaled with our branding on it, which is going to be absolutely sick. And
not fucking around.
No, we don't do things by halves. This is the whole creative part of it, right? Like, the running's one part of it, but we have so much fun doing like the creative fun stuff and bringing the community together. And community is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but we genuinely have like a real community of people, and we like to just make them have a good time together. So we've got that. We've got an after party down there, like a hatted restaurant that has like a hotel down there, so it's going to be a pretty cool little thing. What else have we got going on? More clothing. Not much in painting at the moment. I'm probably going to slowly starting to conceptualize maybe another show.
Mm-hmm.
My last one was in August last year, so I mean, timing's not great for end of this year, but it might be probably early 2027.
Mm-hmm.
Try and look at having a solo show somewhere.
That's something that you just have to actively wanting to push, or is it something you're just going to let come to you?
No, I've got a few ideas of, like, generally after a show, I'll do commissions after the show for pieces that people that missed out on work from the show. And then I kind of just give it space and let ideas come to me just from observing the world. And there's a few things that have sort of been piquing my interest of what I wouldn't mind sort of exploring. So I'll do that, do a little bit of reading, researching art history, seeing how I can tie things in and make something pretty conceptually sound. I think that's, and I was never trained as a an artist, which I think is a superpower and probably also a negative sometimes.
Ignorance is bliss, man.
Yeah.
Especially in the creative sense, man. You just get to do your own thing.
Yeah, but it's taken a long time to get to the point where I am to really understand like the framework of creating art. And I mean, I've invested in doing tutorials with art critics and getting reading recommendations from people to really like self-educate. So I feel like I've got a pretty sound understanding of like conceptual framework and how to make good art. So I'll go through that process and see what comes out of it, and then try and find somewhere to show it.
Mate, all the best with everything that's going to happen over with the Archibald. No matter what, I think it was an important step in you taking your artwork to different areas. I'm super interested to see how everything evolves, no matter what the outcome is going to be. I think that it is important to have that narrative surfaced again. Mate, hope all goes well for it.
Thank you.
Hope all goes well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes off this next iteration, this next evolution of the work. Tom Adair, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks for having me.